Let me start with something that might make you uncomfortable, not because it's complicated, but because once you understand it, you can't unsee it. There are two types of people in the world: those who need money and those who have money waiting. And the difference between them, it's not just wealth, it's power. Because having cash, real, available, liquid cash, gives you an advantage most people don't even realize exists. An advantage so quiet, so invisible, that the people who have it rarely talk about it. And the people who don't, they spend their lives chasing it without understanding why they're always one step behind. So today, we're going deep, not surface level advice, not cliches, not just save money. We're breaking down exactly why cash changes the game, why it bends opportunities in your favor, and why the absence of it quietly locks people out of life's biggest wins. And somewhere in this video, you're going to recognize yourself, either in the struggle or in the shift. So stay with me, because this isn't just about money. This is about leverage. Here's the first truth most people miss. Cash doesn't just buy things. Cash buys time, and time is the one asset you can never earn back. When you don't have cash, every decision becomes urgent. Every bill is a deadline. Every expense is pressure. Every opportunity is filtered through one question: can I afford this right now? And when that question controls your life, you don't make strategic decisions. You make reactive ones. You take the job you don't want. You stay in situations you've outgrown. You tolerate things you should have walked away from years ago. Not because you're weak, but because you're constrained. Now flip it. Imagine having enough cash that you're not forced into immediate decisions. Suddenly, you can wait. You can think. You can choose. And that changes everything, because the biggest opportunities in life don't reward speed, they reward patience. Let's talk about something no one explains properly. Desperation is expensive. When you need something urgently, you lose negotiating power. Think about it. If your rent is due and you're short on cash, you don't negotiate, you accept. If your car breaks down and you need it for work, you don't shop around, you pay whatever it costs. If you hate your job but your bank account is empty, you don't walk away, you endure. But when you have cash, you become dangerous, because now you can say no. And no is one of the most powerful financial tools in existence. You can walk away from bad deals. You can reject overpriced services. You can wait for better opportunities. And people underestimate how rare that is. Most people can't say no because they're not choosing from strength. They're choosing from survival. Here's something else. Cash creates clarity. When you're broke or financially stretched, your brain is noisy. Constant calculations, constant worry, constant mental pressure. How will I pay this? What if something goes wrong? Can I afford to risk this? That mental load drains your ability to think long term. You become focused on getting through the week instead of building the next 5 years. But when you have cash reserves, silence, not literal silence, but mental quiet. And in that quiet, you can think better, you can plan, you can analyze, you can see opportunities that stressed minds miss. Because clarity is a luxury, and cash buys it. Now let's get into something deeper. Cash gives you optionality. And optionality is one of the most underrated advantages in life. Most people live in a straight line, income to expenses to repeat. No flexibility, no alternatives, no exit routes. But cash breaks that pattern. It gives you choices. You can start something without immediate pressure to succeed. You can invest when others are afraid. You can take calculated risks without risking everything. And that's where the real advantage shows up, because success doesn't come from one big move. It comes from having the ability to take multiple shots. And cash lets you stay in the game longer. Let's pause for a second. If what I'm saying is hitting you, if you're starting to see money differently, then take a moment, subscribe, like the video. Not for me, but as a reminder to yourself that you're stepping into a different way of thinking. Because what we're talking about here, this is a mindset shift. And once it clicks, it changes how you move forever. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Cash doesn't just protect you, it positions you. Because when things go wrong, and they always do, cash turns chaos into opportunity. Let me explain. In every crisis, there are two groups of people, those forced to sell and those ready to buy. When markets crash, when businesses struggle, when people panic, assets get cheaper, opportunities appear, but only for those who are ready. And ready doesn't mean intelligent. It doesn't mean talented. It doesn't even mean experienced. It means liquid. It means having cash. Because timing without capital is useless. You can see the opportunity clearly and still miss it completely. Think about this carefully. How many times have you seen something and thought, that's a great opportunity, but couldn't act on it? Not because you didn't understand it, but because you didn't have the resources ready. That gap, that's where cash becomes unfair. Because the person with liquidity doesn't just see opportunities, they capture them. Now let's talk about another hidden advantage: speed. Cash allows you to move fast when it matters. And in many situations, speed beats perfection. Let's say there's a deal, a property, a business, an investment. The seller doesn't always choose the highest offer. They choose the surest offer, the fastest, the least complicated, the least risky. And guess who wins in that scenario? The person with cash. No delays, no approvals, no dependencies, just execution. And that's powerful, because in the real world, the best opportunities don't wait. Here's something most people won't tell you. Cash changes how people treat you, not always openly, but subtly. When you have financial stability, you project confidence, you negotiate differently, you communicate differently, you carry yourself differently, and people respond to that. Opportunities start to come to you because you're no longer seen as someone who needs, you're seen as someone who chooses. And that shift, it's massive. Let's go deeper. Cash gives you emotional stability. And this might be the most important advantage of all, because money problems aren't just financial, they're psychological. Stress, anxiety, fear, all amplified when resources are tight. And when your emotional state is unstable, your decisions suffer. You become impulsive, you become reactive, you become short-sighted. But when you have a cushion, you're calmer, more grounded, more rational, and that translates into better decisions, which leads to better outcomes, which leads to more cash. And now you're in a completely different cycle. Let's talk about risk. Most people think having cash makes you conservative, but in reality, it allows you to take smarter risks because you're not betting everything on one move. You're not risking survival, you're risking growth. And that's a big difference. When you're broke, every risk feels dangerous. When you have cash, risks become calculated, strategic, intentional. And that's where real progress happens. Now here's something that might challenge you. Saving money alone is not the goal. Stacking cash just to feel secure is not the full game. Cash is not the destination. It's the tool. The advantage comes from how you use it. Holding cash gives you power. Deploying cash creates wealth. And the balance between those two? That's where mastery lives. Let's pause again. If you're still here, that means you're not just listening, you're thinking. And that's rare. Drop a comment below. Cash is leverage. Not because it sounds good, but because you understand it. Because once you internalize this, you stop chasing money blindly and start positioning yourself strategically. Now let's address something real, because some people might be thinking, this sounds great, but I don't have extra cash. Good. This part is for you, because the advantage doesn't start when you have millions. It starts the moment you create margin, even small amounts of available cash. Change your behavior, change your thinking, change your options. It's not about how much. It's about the shift from zero to something, because zero means no flexibility. Zero means no buffer. Zero means every decision is pressured, but even a small cushion, that's the beginning of control.